buses, large yellow buses and vans, passengers over 9 to park during the day on the streets to try to eliminate some of the transportation companies that were bringing vans and buses home and parking them in residential areas during the day until it's time for them to go back and pick up the kids after school. We were getting complaints about residents, about buses blocking residents' driveways and not making it easy for them to see. Another, maybe the municipal lots, maybe I know that Ruby's here, so that's probably something that you want to talk about. I have 5 municipal lots that I oversee: Wyoming Square, Buffum Street, Ellis, School Street, where the interim MBTA bus stop is right now, Market Square, which is only about 20 spots, which is on the end of the Commons, across from, in between CVS and the Commons. There's like a little designated area there, and Union Street, there's 30 meters that are just right there, and Blake Street, that's off of the Buffum Street lot. So when I came on, there wasn't a permitting system that allowed people to buy permit. Well, there was a permitting system, but it had no order to it. It was just, you can do this for this amount, you can do that for that amount. We implemented a 3-tier pass, that's a day pass, a night pass, and then a 24-hour pass. Most of the residents in the area buy 24-hour passes for the lots. And, ooh, this is moving. And then, I'm sorry, and then businesses are using usually the day passes. I don't know if you guys have questions about any of that, or?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that about the buses during the day?
So during the day, the yellow bus, the ordinance says that you're not allowed to have a bus or a van that's 9 passengers or more parked in a residential area between, it's opposite, so it's 7 a.m. to 10 p.m. So they were just trying to eliminate people that, people that work for these transportation companies are bringing huge buses home and then parking them. We had one that was on Broadway and it was just sitting there all day. And people, it was hard for people to like get out of their driveway or see the traffic that was coming on when you're crossing.
Will that be enforced by you or by the police department?
So it can be enforced by both. When I have people on shift, they'll usually call us, which is during the day. And then at night, the police would probably get it for the.
How many parking
So during the day, I have 4. We're very short staffed for as big as our city is. During the day, I have 4, and that's from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. And then from 4 p.m. to 12 midnight, I have 2, and then overnight, I have 2.
And are those jobs posted?
At City Hall. Yeah, we keep it open because I never
It's just
can. Yeah.
constant revolving door.
Yeah. I always tell the people that I interview for 2nd and 3rd shift, like, don't take this job and waste your time if you think you're gonna go hide in a car and not work, because that's not gonna happen. I tell them I can see the tickets that I can just pop up my laptop and I can see when you write the tickets and when you don't. So if there's big gaps, I have no problem with getting in my car and going and find you. I think right now the biggest thing that the department's worried about is the snow emergency and making sure people know where they can park, to ask people to sign up for RAVE, which is a mobile notification system. It will send you a text to let you know when the snow ban has been put in place and when it has been removed and when you have to move your cars and whatever. So we are encouraging people to sign up for that, because I don't want to tow people. Towing someone is like a $400 expense. Yeah, it's crazy. So including, the ticket and the tow, it comes to about $398. So it's like, just move your cars. And a lot of people, for some reason, just don't move their cars, or they're not paying attention to when the snow ban is. And I think that's a important thing to me, is to make sure that people know, like, how can I give you the information so that you know that you have to move your car, or to, get it off the street, and that's
I
been a
think
big battle.
a lot of it is consistency. And so some people say, well, yeah, they didn't do it the last time, so I'm good this time, and then all of a sudden, bang, they get hit, and like I said, it kind of goes back to all parking enforcement. Everybody wants it until it happens.
Into a habit. So when I came on, Mayor Nicholson's big thing was the street sweeping and keeping downtown clean. So he's had me work with DPW for the street sweeping, that's done downtown every night. One side of the street is Monday, Wednesday, Friday. The other side is Tuesday, Thursday. When I came on, we were towing between 20 and 30 cars every night. That's a lot of cars. We're down to 10, under 10. And that's including summer on Summer Street. They only do it, I think, on Fridays. So we're down to 10 cars, so I feel good about that, because that means people, it's consistency, like you said, people know that it's gonna be enforced. So they move in their cars. And it's funny because my guys are like, 4 o'clock, you see people just come running to move their cars.
I know.
So,
Jess, a few people couldn't be here and had sent me questions.
Okay.
One of them is Tom Dill from the Lake Dog, who shares the parking lot with Zoe. So I know, he said, and I don't know if this is you or not, he said, in the winter, when the sun melts, a lot of the snow reaches from higher and goes across the parking lot. And then that becomes a skate lane, and people have fell, and some people have gotten really hurt.
okay,
And he wants to know when the city is going back out to salt and things like that, if they will go back and do some of these big parking lots where people are
yes.
getting hurt.
Absolutely. I would ask that if any of the business owners, if you're in the lot and you see that it's not, if it hasn't been de-iced or whatever, that you reach out to me, because I'll make sure that that happens.
One of the other questions he had, and again, he didn't know if this is you or if I should speak to Lisa and Eric, but he said, one, they love the parking lot. It's a great addition to the Wyoma Square. But he said when they redid the new trash barrels, the ones with the paint that people painted, they collected the old trash barrels out of the lot, but they've never been replaced.
So do they have none
no
in there?
barrels.
They have none right now.
Okay.
So I didn't know if I should present that to you, or should I? talk
Yep,
to
nope.
Lisa and Eric first?
I can work with Elisa to get that
Okay.
done. It's my lot, so I have to maintain it. The
Yeah.
DPW does help. So yes, that is something I'll make sure that
And a
we
lot
get
of times,
barrels in.
particularly during baseball season, that lot's
Yeah.
packed with
Yeah.
Wyoming.
I didn't know that. I'm sorry. I do know that, our lots right now have, for whatever reason, when they got these new big bellies, they're decorative ones, they took away all the other barrels
Right.
too, instead of just giving us some of those and keeping them all.
Right.
And there's trash everywhere.
Mm.
Like, I notice it and I'm trying, I've had, we pay someone on staff to clean it. I had community, what do you call it? I reached out to the court, so community service
Mhm.
has been out there and helped me with it. We've used Roca to clean it. It's just people don't like to use trash barrels for whatever reason. So, but
Well, I'm meeting with Lisa this morning too, so I'll mention
Good
the
job.
barrel.
Okay. I did ask for some in the barrels. I asked for 8 barrels, 2 for each lot, to add to what was there, and it was like $22,000 for barrels.
But he did want me to say that he loves the lot.
Oh, good. No, I'll make sure that we get some barrels in there.
Someone else asked, the lot on Buckham Street. On Sundays, sometimes my boss goes into work and we have paid parking spots there. They have a placard.
Mhm.
So sometimes on Sundays, he goes into the office and he notices there are guys there not letting folks park that are trying to go to the area churches.
So that was something that was happening early on, that
He
you're,
wants to know if they can park there because they
So,
will be scooted away.
yes. So we found out that that was happening.
Mhm.
So now I pay enforcement officers to work on Sundays from 9 to 1, which is double time. I'm not happy about it, but this is what I have to do, because I did find out that they were, the churches had someone out there that was telling people that they couldn't use the lots, even though I had residents who paid $100 a month to park there. They called and they were like, went grocery shopping, came back and was told that I can't get in the lot. I'm like, what are you talking about? So I had to go there and that was happening. But for the last 2 months, I've had people there to make sure.
Okay.
I did try to work with the church and allow them to use 50 spaces in there on Sundays from that time, from 9 to 1, but my pass holders are more important. They're paying, so I have to accommodate them, but
Right.
so yes, they
But you
can
said
park
on
in there.
Sunday, it doesn't seem to- It's pretty empty.
Yes, so also that at up until recently, as recent as yesterday, was the only lot that was permitted. That you could, the only way that you could park there is if you had a day pass, night pass, or 24-hour pass.
Mhm.
We've made it now so that we put a kiosk there. The kiosk can be used after 5 p.m. until 7 a.m. And then on Saturdays and Sundays, all day.
So if
so
somebody's
you-
going to April's, they can.
Yes,
park there.
yes,
Yeah.
because those businesses that were in that area, they didn't have a lot that people could park in, that was closed.
That's always.
Right, so now there's a key,
Lost his lot next to. Yeah.
Right,
yeah, so we do have a kiosk there now. The kiosk is activated, people can use it after 5 p.m. and they can use it on the weekends.
and the last question is, they said right now, spots in some parking lots are assigned to particular plates. Can local businesses buy spots for customers using a placard system? Any thought of that?
So, I don't know what
I don't
that's
know
about.
what he's,
Maybe they're
referring
what
to.
they're saying is that our new permitting system, resident permits that are for the streets that are designated resident only and lot permits are all digitalized now, which means they go by your license plate. So when you register for a permit, you upload your registration, you put your license plate number in there, and then we can scan your license plate. So maybe that's what they're talking about. We got away from using passes and stickers because I know this sounds crazy, but people were duplicating the stickers. I didn't know you can go to Staples and buy the stickers, put the sticker in there and print the sticker and put it on your
Oh,
window.
bad, you don't do that. Dave.
with your full color.
That was in my accident.
I actually find that there used to be across the street, we had people that would come in all the time. I knew what it was, so I would always define it, but I actually did have to wait to recreate the sticker for the.
So people were doing that. So we got away from that. We invested in equipment, license plate readers that are cameras that are on the car, that as they drive by, it scans the license plate and it tells if you're registered or not.
So
But there
Jess,
isn't that. And I am trying to, I'm gonna be completely upfront. I know that I have a lot of business owners in here that are near lots. And, you know, it's expensive. I understand that. I was trying to work out a, business pass permit, whatever. And then my permitting vendor was like, I just want to let you know, once you do this and you give these businesses a discount, your residents are gonna go crazy because they're gonna look in this, everyone, you can see a permit price, right? Because it's a menu and you say what pass you want, and depending on that, you have to upload certain things. So if I'm a resident and I'm paying $100 a month, and then I see a business owner is getting a discount on their monthly passes, I'm gonna freak out, because why are they, you know, so I had to
their
think
tax
about.
rates also.
I
double.
know, so I'm not like, I haven't totally said no to it. It's just something that when I, you know, was looking into it, I was like, I have to go to the mayor because my head gets on the chopping board for everything. And I just didn't want to make a decision that is gonna affect the community as a whole. But it is something that I am looking into doing.
I just wondered, you know, what percentage of people actually use the kiosk prior to being ticketed? Like 20%, or you think 80%?
So I'm gonna be, so revenue in the year that I was in doubled.
Right.
Right, I don't have, if I knew that you were gonna ask that, I could tell you what each lot makes.
Mhm.
Offhand, I know right now that Andrew Street lot brings in more revenue than the other lots. And I just think that right now it's like that because Buffalo didn't have a kiosk, so I think Buffalo, once the kiosk is up and going, will probably generate more revenue. But I say that just because obviously nobody was paying to park anywhere. People were just doing anything.
Just what's the deal you worked out with the school department, Pickering?
So I don't think it was a deal,
Well,
but
no, they can.
I'm just saying.
They have little placards in their cars.
So I didn't work that out. When I came on, I was told that, teachers were given placards to put in their windows so that people know that they're teachers, right? And I think that that was done more so for, schools that are in resident-only areas, like some streets are designated just resident, and those residents had to pay $20 a year to park in your zone, right? Some of the schools are in these areas. So to let people know that they're teachers, they put these placards in there. My thing is, I don't want to ticket a teacher who's there educating our kids in this area, but I tell them, if you're blocking someone's driveway, their suburban mailbox, which I learned is a mailbox that's on the grass, that's in the front of the house, or the stairway, I'll ticket you for that. I try to, if that does happen, which I think it only happened once in the year that I've been here, we've gone into the school to say, your teacher has a placard in the car, can you move, they're blocking something. But it wasn't a deal. And as far as the Wyoma Square lot is, I let them use 11 spots that, like when you kind of come up the hill, they're allowed to park there between 8 to 4, but then after that,
So
it's
it's 8 to 4.
yeah, 8 to 4. And it's only those 11 spots that are like when you come up
Way
on the
over
side.
that, but I'm not complaining about that.
Okay.
Tommy Dill should be complaining. But I don't,
Okay.
I don't open till 4 usually, so it doesn't bother me,
Okay,
but they are, the lots,
they're encroaching.
the lot's like almost full.
Okay.
3/4 full during the day.
See, I don't know these things if you guys aren't saying anything to me. Like I do
But
have my guys
I
out there.
understand that they don't have any other place to park right now, so I mean, it's okay by me, I'm not complaining.
Yeah, but I mean, I've worked with them, not to make a deal, but I've worked with them and said,
It's way
be
more than
accommodating, this is
spaces.
11, you have, the other areas. And I know that because of the work that's being done over there, maybe
Yeah.
they've been displaced a little bit, but that's a conversation that I need to have with them because they can't be encroaching on a lot. So I'll have to work that out.
And then they're good till 4, and then after 4, are they supposed to pay or?
Yes,
or-
they're supposed to pay.
So that placard, then your people are like. they'll
That
take it
doesn't mean
after
anything,
4.
exactly. Because after 4 o'clock, most teachers are gone. After
Right.
4 o'clock, most teachers are out of the lot. I'm trying to balance it, right? I mean, it's a school department,
no,
the
it's
teachers,
fair.
we have a lot.
Right.
So, okay.
Fridays works out good.
So one of the questions, or suggestions that I wanted to bring up was, it's on Union Street, it's not my words, it's out of my lead, but I don't know if the board councilor has spoken to about this, I've spoken with her a couple of times about this. Union Street, there's so many businesses there, and I'm speaking about that because most of them are my customers. One of the concerns that they have right now is that now that everybody has to pay, they've lost a lot of customers because, for example, I go to the bakery twice a week. And when I go in, I literally go in and out, less than 5 minutes to get some bread. And a lot of the concerns I've gotten from the small stores around there is that customers are going away just because they have to pay for an hour for parking. So I had spoken to the ward counselors, suggested that she speak to do it with the powers that be. Would it be possible to consider maybe doing 15 minutes of free parking before they have to pay? And I understand that by doing that, you may need to find another solution to enforce it as well. So I'm just asking, have you considered
Yeah.
doing something like that? I know I've gotten numerous complaints and I tell them, we gotta talk to the park department. It's not as easy as it sounds, but it is something that I would like to suggest.
So I'm gonna answer that with this. The city right now has a parking study that's being done, and that was one of the things that they did address. So I just want to point out on Union Street, one side of Union Street is kiosk, so you have to pay, and then the other side is timed parking. So that there's plenty of spot parking out there that you don't have to pay for. It's just that everyone is like, I'm not gonna park on that side of the street where I have to pay. I'm gonna park on this side where it's an hour or 2 hours. there's very few 15 or 20 minutes because they're all hour or 2 hours. And their customers aren't being able to use those because everyone is parking on that side of the street, rightfully so. It's something that has to be addressed. The parking study is going to address that, but and what it's recommending is that we do away with timed parking and make it paid parking, everything paid parking, but we allow for 15 or 20 minutes free. And that's something that the kiosk would be able to do when you put in your license plate. It would start by the time, and that our license plate readers would be able to tell when you did that. But that being said, they'll still have to put in their plate in the pay by phone kiosk, and it would allow them the 15, 20 minutes free to park there. I did reach out to Beverly because they've instituted this. And what their director said to me is that people who are going to pay are going to pay. People who park and have no intention of paying just park and yes, 15, 20 minutes, it's free, you know that, but then they stay there anyway. And she said that, you know, it usually takes them an hour to loop back because that digital chalking, time tracking, we don't do that anymore with chalk the tires anymore, but with the equipment, it can tell by the license plate numbers that you entered in. So it is something that we're addressing. I don't think it's going to be a difference because people just want to park for free. And you can't go into any other city or town and not pay to park. Everyone here has gone to Boston or Salem or wherever to eat dinner or to spend time, and you pay to park. Why is Lynn different?
It's spoiled.
And consistency in
Yeah.
enforcement. Once they keep getting banged, they'll learn quick. Either that or the city makes money.
But there is parking there, and and again, the parking study has a lot of recommendations. That is something that it will address. It'll be good.
When do they think that'll be completed?
It's supposed to, the recommendations is in my understanding, it's supposed to come out in October. And it will be presented at different meetings, but they'll probably be able to come here if you would pick them. Reach out to Aaron,
Absolutely.
Reach out to,
Aaron Clausen in
Okay.
planning.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And can the chamber share that?
Yes, I left a whole stack of flyers
I'm
up
gonna,
there.
on our website, we'll
Okay,
send it out at the last.
thank you. And I'll set up a way that people can sign up
If you
for
have
it.
changes that are happening and you think implemented like that in kiosk, let us
Let
know
you know.
because we can send that out to all our membership.
Thank you. I'm trying to make the lots look a lot better. Like right now, I'm working with ISD to redo the island on Buffum Street because it used to be a parking shed there that had the electrical boxes and stuff. And right now it just looks like crap. Right? It just looks like,
Yeah.
I went to Mosaic to hear some complaints, and they took me on a tour, and it's a gorgeous view from the top of that building. Have you been up there?
no,
Go there. The top of it is just breathtaking. You can see water from every angle. There's the pool, everything. Then you look down and you see the slot, and you're like, whoa, that's what that looks like. So we're trying to make it look better. Yeah,
Yeah.
trying to make it look better because then you feel safe parking there. So
Mhm.
I am trying.
oh, I know you are. Jess, with, it seems more and more commercial vehicles, are in residential neighborhoods overnight. Can you just touch on what the rules are for
So.
on street and even in the driveway?
Yeah, so, I'll say this, driveways, you're allowed to have one commercial, and I know this because I was the ordinance enforcement officer. So the city does have a new ordinance enforcement officer. His name is Chris Poole. He is an attorney, so that's good. And he enforces the city ordinances. One of the city ordinance is that residents are not allowed to have more than one commercial vehicle, parked in their driveway or in their yard, wherever, on their property at night between 10 p.m. and 6 a.m. And if you do, that's a $300 ticket. So if someone has a business and you're bringing all your vans there and, you know, your employees are coming there, that's a 300, and they can give that to you nightly. So if there's a complaint of that, resident should reach out to Chris Poole, who is the ordinance enforcement officer. We also have the ordinance, commercial vehicle ordinance that doesn't allow overnight on-street parking of commercial vehicles. A commercial vehicle, the city considers it to be a vehicle over 14,000 pounds. I think, yeah, 14,000 pounds, and it has any, lettering on it. We also say, even if it's a white van and it has a rooftop with piping tubes or ladders or whatever, because we've recently found out that I can go to the register and register my commercial vehicle as a passenger vehicle. So we ticket them, and then you can plead your case with the hearing officer, because there's so many of them on the streets right now.
I remember Chris's boss, John, lived down the street from me. And he had just a Toyota Tundra pickup truck, no lettering on it, but he did have a commercial plate because he had it to his company. And just because it had a commercial plate, no lettering, just a every run-of-the-mill Toyota pickup truck, he got a ticket in front of his house on.
We're
Maple
doing
Road.
that. I'll say to people, I understand, put it in your driveway, because you're allowed to have that, put your other car on the street.
My son-in-law, when they were living with us, same thing. Are there specific lots in Lynn that these folks that have businesses that have more than one commercial, like, where do they go?
So we haven't allowed them to park in the city lots because they'll take over the city lot. Like, because they don't,
What they're doing at the Stop and Shop, parking lot.
well, it's my understanding that certain business owners are leasing out spaces around like Market Basket or whatever, but I have no control of that. And that too is a violation of a city ordinance, because that's considered a contractor's yard, which you're not allowed to have, so.
The thing is that those,
You had spaces, you couldn't lease them out to.
No, it becomes a contractor's yard,
So where do they go?
wherever they own their businesses.
like down,
I
Yeah,
know,
but
but
if they
that's
own
not,
it-
I mean,
Well,
I don't
yeah,
make that law, I don't make the rule. That's something that business owners or should probably meet with the city attorney and the ward councilors and try to rewrite the ordinance, because we can only enforce what's there.
but there are very few contracted yards that are permitted now. Like, I have one in Revere, and it's more valuable as an open lot than it is to put a building.
Do you have a
Mr.
question?
Yes, I do have a question. We have a situation, similar to what you were talking about right now, because, usually, overnight, we found like those vans parking our lot, right? But the situation that is more concerning for us is like, over the weekend, right? We have our private parking lot, but even though we call the city a couple of times, that we have a situation like just cars walking our trucks, doesn't allow us to go in or go out. And I've been calling, like I mentioned, like a couple of times, even if we're trying to call police and trying to find someone involved. I mean, the only thing is like over there, even though it's a private parking lot, we just put some phones on it. And I didn't possibly buying new phones, I really kind of like to put the limits on it.
Okay.
But the people, since it's in front of a field, they just can't, and they believe it's free parking.
Where is this?
Signs over there. It's
Wh-
in Lynn Street,
Okay,
behind the Lynn Street in front of the field.
okay,
And we've been having issues there for a while already.
okay.
I've been trying to have conversations with the people who, sponsor those type of events, but they said they will do it and they don't. Sometime last week, without even having, I mean, we have an issue here because they arrest like 3 people over there. Because they were having, I don't know, if they were fighting or something, and they were in front of our parking lot. And usually, they block our trucks. I mean, we work Monday to Sunday. I mean, not all of our trucks go out on Sunday, but those are the times that the business time for them as well. So when they come and block our trucks, and they don't care. We put some comfort there, but they don't care, they move the cars.
And you said you've called our parking department?
We call.
Okay, well, I'll give you my cell phone number and you can, I do have people that work on the weekends. Right now it's very few, but I do have people, so, I can send people there. We did have an issue, over on Barry Park with the Westland Pub Owner, organization and their parents, and it got really crazy. Actually, I got threatened had a court case.
Oh,
Yes, it was crazy. Another, resident slashed the car tire, just yelling at one of my guys, asking them to move, and he just was very irate, and he slashed the tire
of the vehicle?
of the vehicle, just punctured it. Yep, so, and my guys don't get paid enough for that. I always tell them, if someone is in your face or whatever, walk away, right? It's not worth that, especially now. But within this year, I've had like 3 court cases. Mhm. So, but I will give you my number and we'll work on it.
So just to clarify, you said that even if it's let's say a Chevy, white Chevy van with, non-commercial plates, it doesn't have a sign, because I've gotten a call about a couple of them. There's 2 or 3 vans in a house. They're on the street, but they don't have commercial plates, and they don't have any lettering on it. They will still be ticketed.
If they have ladders, people will say to you, listen, I hear it all at the counter, okay? There's pictures, there has to be pictures. We can't just give you, the only one who gives a ticket and there isn't pictures for it are the police. Our guys, if they're issuing tickets, they're to take multiple pictures. And I tell them all the time, our system allows you to take up to 8 pictures, take all 8, because this is going to be a dispute. It's gonna go before a hearing officer. If they're giving a white van or a white truck a citation, for that, it's because there's some evidence of work equipment. I had a guy who, was telling me, nope, I don't do that. It's not, what are the pipes on the top of your roof for? Oh, I clean pools. I do it for my friends or whatever. It's a commercial vehicle. You just told me you're putting piping tubes in those white. I don't believe that. And if they get a ticket, they can always go in before the hearing officer. But very rarely have someone come and they're given a ticket that shouldn't have gotten a ticket. It's a commercial vehicles is a huge concern in our city, in residential areas. Go through Pine Hill and it's like, you can't get down some of the streets because all of the vans and trucks that are commercial vans and trucks. And I ticket them and they don't care. I have one guy who comes every month and he pays like $2 grand in tickets. That's what he said to me. It makes me mad because I want to take it because it's just like, you don't care. You're like, ticket me, right? But what can I do? He just.
This is a great opportunity to create a business. No, I'm not kidding. If somebody's paying that kind of money,
Well, if you have land, then you can.
we'll pick up your car at whatever and we'll deliver it so that, you don't have to worry about it.
$2 grand a month.
Yeah.
I'm
when
telling
you're
you,
talking
he comes.
2 grand, it's like,
He comes, he says hi. He thinks he's our friend. He says hi and he pays and he goes. He doesn't have anywhere to put them. He told me he used to have, and I think it's like 3 of them that he pays tickets for. He said he used to have a place in Saugus and they're not allowed to do it anymore, so he has to bring them home.
It is a huge challenge, and I think one of the few large places, and I don't even know what he has for room, was Felini's place down by the old Caps Junkyard. That's a big contractor area. There's some on Alley Street, but when you think about it,
And they're trying to clean those out.
right, eventually that's gonna get built on. And, it's,
What about on Boston Street across from Sacred Heart, that lot, is that Sacred Heart's lot?
That's Sacred Heart's lot. Westland Pop Warner did work out with them to be able to park in there during their practices. So maybe they'll be open to let people use it, but
But I see it's a lot of commercial vehicles.
they probably allowed them to do that, right?
And is that considered a?
If the ordinance enforcement officer was notified, he could ticket them, he could cite them,
Even though it's private property?
even though it's private property, because you're only allowed, the ordinance says you're only allowed to have 1 commercial vehicle on your property. And that's a $300 ticket. That's not a $50 ticket. That's a $300 ticket. And I mean, it doesn't make people happy about it, but I guess the city looks at it as like, we don't want all these empty lots to become contractor yards. Like I said, if you go to Market Basket on either side, it's starting, you can see it. I see it every day. It's not my job. Can't tell you.
Well, Demarcus owned all the property, so is that,
He must be renting it out, but it hasn't,
he is,
well,
The same thing with the Alice Street property.
but is it considered a contractor's lot? Gotta be, because he's charging.
Yes, I don't know what
I
that,
don't wanna get booted out of there.
and I just, yeah, and I mean, I've seen it. I know people have seen it. I know people use it. I'm not gonna lie. I've told people there, it seems to be, happening. Go speak to them, see if you can park your cars there. I don't know what else, 'cause I don't know what else to say to people who come to my council that say, where do I?
That's where your challenge is, if you want free businesses and. they gotta park
Exactly, I
somewhere.
want, exactly. But that's why I say maybe the ward counselors and the city attorney needs to get together and maybe rewrite an ordinance or establish an area that it is allowed in. Right? Because right now contractors yards aren't allowed in any area.
unless it's specifically permitted for that.
Right. But you have to get a use variance.
Right? And I don't think anybody's getting a new one now.
You could mention an ordinance officer.
There's an ordinance enforcement officer who enforces the city ordinances, rules, but, his name is Chris Poole. Mhm. And he's an attorney.
Yeah.
And is he working out of ISD?
So,
Yes, he's in ISD. He's a great guy. Huh?
That was a school.
He is, he's really nice.
Now, Jess, can you guys, I think, your employees can now do registrations and stickers, right? If you don't have those, I don't think you did that years ago.
So yes, we
Okay.
can do that. So I'm gonna, I'm not trying to kill people with violations, right? So I always say to someone, if someone has an expired sticker, you should only be ticketing that if there's another violation, a parking violation that caused you to see that. We're not the police.
But that's feeling the way, I don't think years ago, when Parker did all that, right? Is that a new ordinance or state law that
No,
gave you the power?
I think that they've done it.
Have they?
Yeah.
Chelsea too, I got one a couple years ago. in Chelsea for that.
don't like to admit it, but yeah.
Yeah, when that stick is up, I'll get another.
Well, I forgot one time the decal on the back of your plate. I got pulled over one time. I was like, what's the matter? And he was like, your sticker in the back. And I was like, I didn't know you're supposed to do that. This is a lease car. Well, how do I know?
Oh, you
The
just put the arrow.
registry's not
Yeah.
so good at sending that information out.
No.
The
I learned
license
my lesson. I
registry.
walk around that car now.
Jess, with resident parking, somebody gets a resident parking permit, is that for a specific zone?
So resident parking, permitted stickers, I mean, they're not stickers, digital passes are only required if you're on a resident only street. So only certain streets are labeled resident only. And you would see the signs that on your street that would say resident parking. And in the past, you would come to City Hall, you would get a pass, you would get visitor passes. We don't do that because as Beth said, people were duplicating them. It goes by your license plate, you have to create an account and it's $20 a year. And then your visitor passes are free. You would upload your visitor's license plate. It would stay there for a week and then it would go away. If they stay longer than a week, you would just have to put it back in.
But is it only for their neighborhood?
It's only for that street.
Okay.
Every street, not every street in the city is a resident only street.
Okay,
so
so
you
somebody
just-
up by Shoemaker can't go park in the Diamond
Exactly.
District to go to the beach.
Yeah. So if someone over by the beach, there's a lot like residents that are going to the beach, they're parking on Ocean Street, off Nahant Street, and one end of Nahant is resident only. So if you're not registered, you got a ticket.
If you pay to park at a certain lot and then whether, if you go to another lot, do you have to pay again?
If you have a pass? No. So we ask people to stay in the lot that you're registered in because every lot has a certain amount of spaces and we have to account for every space Not that you have a particular space that you have to parking, but I need to know where my day passes are, where my night passes are. With Lynn Community Health, they have a huge number of passes in the Buffum. And at one time they were getting passes in Ellis Street too. And I just kind of was like, listen, you're taking over all of my lots. I need you to be in one lot. But in that instance, in the beginning, before we moved them all to one lot, they did ask if at 4 o'clock could they go to Buffum because it was dark and they were scared to walk over. I did allow it because that lot was empty. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to do that anymore because I think that with that kiosk there, it's gonna get used. So we asked you to stay in your lot. However, that being said, I do tell my guys, like, if someone has a permit in one lot, there's a reason that they went to the other lot. So don't ticket them. Let's find out. Because we have your license plate, I have your information, I can call you. You're required to give me your email and a phone number.
Do you think the interim, train station at Elm Street will stay?
I don't know. Well, I was talking to one of the guys that was doing some work over there and he was like, they say interim, but interim means like 10 years.
Oh.
So I don't-
It's used a lot.
yeah, it is used a lot. And we've kind of designated one side, it has two lots. We call it the Ellis Street and the School Street side. We've given one side to permit parkers and then the other side to commuters. So that seems to be working out. Okay.
Any other
Anyone else have any anybody on the Zoom have a question? Or comment?
Can they see?
Hey, can I jump in? I just wanted to say hi to Jess. She's doing an absolutely phenomenal job and
Nice.
trying to implement a lot of changes, and changes is different, you know, for a lot of people. So I just wanted to come on and support her. I don't know, I missed the introduction, so I don't know what was said about her, but she has a fantastic resume. She's highly educated. She's a product of the city. And she has a tough job, man. A lot of people, you walk into City Hall and you walk by the parking department, it's not an easy job. And so I just wanted to say, you know, hopefully the chamber supports her. She's trying to do good for the city of Lynn. And I just want to say, you know, keep up the good work, Jess.
Thank you. That was so.
Thank you, Jim. Any other questions for Jeff? I see my co-chair, Glenn Morris, on the Zoom. Glenn, do you have anything to add?
That's a good picture, Glenn.
No, I think it was a great discussion, and it seems like you're really on top of the parking issue as much as you can be.
Yeah. Well, I'm here. Reach out to me if you have any concerns or questions. I'll try to help the best that I can.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Jess.
You
That wasn't bad.
just never know what you're gonna get.
And Glenn, do you have anything on, I know you were working on the labor secretary.
No, unfortunately, I fell and broke my arm, and I'm having surgery Friday. So I've been out of circulation for a bit.
Okay, and we'll get an announcement out on next month's meeting. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone on the Zoom. Sorry we had such a slow start to it, but we'll get it fixed next month.
Yep.
Have a
Thank
great
you,
day,
Rick and
everyone.
Jessica and Chris. Thank you.
Bye.
Bye, ladies. I'll